Does that make Matthew a cop? Well, yeah, I'm Nathan. I'm an alcoholic,
Hey, Nathan.
and they caught me and convicted me, and I'm doing my sentence. But it's not that bad. There's a lot of metaphorical language in AA, I suppose. I just found out there's a speaker meeting. So what it was like, what happened, that type of deal. Well, I drank a little bit in junior high and high school. It was a little bit fun and this and that, but I didn't really feel as an alcoholic. I tried pot a number of times with my friends that got into it, and I didn't ever feel anything really. And then my first girlfriend, like halfway through my senior high school, I crashed my cool car that we'd cruise around a lot. And a week later, she had me over to her house, and there was her older boyfriend. And she said, "We're getting back together, so you got to go." I went home, and I was, kind of in shock, I guess, whatever. And I went downstairs, and I borrowed this punching bag from my friend in karate, and I was hitting it, and I looked over, and there was this box of booze from when my folks used to party, covered in dust, all these fifths and half gallons, and I was like, screw this. I grabbed a bottle I looked through there, and I grabbed 151, just started chugging that and punching this punching bag. And I'm like, man, the worst part of this is I got to sit next to her in first period. And I'm like, I can't deal with this, So I think, my plan was like, just going to pretend like it doesn't bother me. She's never going to know I'm upset or anything. So I'm not even going to look at her. So I drank before school. And I think, I probably drank during lunch, after school, got some weed. And just like that, I think it was probably because I didn't want to feel the pain or whatever. And when my dad left when I was 10, I think I'd already been through that of like, I don't want to feel any pain, So just the switch went, and that was it. I had a 3.9 in all the honors classes, and I went, man, I already got into college, and I went, I'm going to see what it's like to just pass for the first time, And I think the weed and alcohol, was affecting my decision making there also. But I got 5 D's and an F in my last semester. And I was like, since I was a good kid, I flew under the radar pretty much the whole rest of the school year somehow, being very much under the influence all day, every morning, lunch, evening. And I went to college. I went to Evergreen. And I tried to quit, a couple times. I feel like, I got a DWI the night of high school graduation, and was supposed to do deferred AA, all that. And I think I tried quitting drinking a little bit that summer, and I quit weed. And I made it till I went to college. And then I threw that out, and I made it through college, but I was abusing alcohol a lot and trying to always have pot. And I made it till I was about 30 years old. I did graduate, and then I just basically screwed around for 10 years and thought that I was sort of managing it pretty well and controlling it somewhat. And I considered myself like a maintenance user, I guess. And I know this is AA, but I feel like smoking weed all I could really made me not binge drink. And I always thought if I didn't have that, how much of an alcoholic would I be? But it seemed to work that way. And I tried some other drugs here and there, but I was content with just smoking pot and drinking microbrews with my buddies. And let's see, then I had this girlfriend who I didn't know did harder drugs. She kept it hidden quite a while, and then she like turned me on to it a little bit one day, and it was speed, and I was like, well, what's the big deal? You just inhale smoke like pot, It's just another, but no, it's just a totally different level. And then that made me crazy really fast and paranoid, and I went back to Seattle. This was all in Olympia, but I went back to Seattle and went to treatment. I told my mom and dad, like, oh, shit's getting real scary. I don't know what's going on. So I did outpatient treatment at Virginia Mason when I was about 30 or something. And we're supposed to do AA. And I didn't really get it. I don't know what I was doing. I basically was just trying to get away from that scene and have things be relatively calm, or and yeah, back to the DWI. I was sentenced to 208 A meetings, right? Deferred prosecution, 2 a week for 2 years. And in Olympia and Thurston County, they did not have that rule for DWIs, for deferred. So my outpatient counselors went, oh man, yeah, you got screwed, man. You just bring your forms into our meetings and we'll sign them for you. And I was like, oh, cool. So, I always wondered what would happen if I'd gone to 208 AA meetings between 18 and 20 years old. I'll never know, but I only cheated myself there. The judge, I had 208 fake signatures. The judge was like, how'd that work out for you? And I was like, good. And he goes, all right. And it was dismissed, and all that judge really had to do was say, like, how many steps are there? I would have been busted. Because I'd never been to one single meeting. I didn't know anything about it. So when this came up later at 30, I was, I don't know, I might have gone to one or two of them, and I thought, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I'm doing the outpatient here, so, but I didn't really do the deal, and I went back down to Olympia because that's where my work was and everything, and I just thought, okay, if I just stay away from that stuff and that gal and whatever, I'll just go back to the way it was before and it was fine. But as we know, once you cross some line there, it's over. So it ended up badly again. Went back, and this time I actually did AA, and I made it. I went to a meeting almost every day for 6 months, and I didn't really do the steps. I probably did 1, 2, 3 or something, but I was like, okay, I'm okay now. I'll go back down. Oh yeah, go back up to my folks' house again and do this again. So I did this pattern 3 or 4 times. That's 6 months, 6 months, 11 months, and each time it just got freaking worse. And I was completely so screwed up and sick and crazy from all what I'd done to myself, and I decided that this time I would stay in West Seattle and not go back to Olympia because, for one thing, I'd proven to myself that I was not going to be able to go back to the way it was, no matter how much I wished that was possible. and that I was going to have to do this thing. And then I was truly unhappy. And I just thought, this has to be the worst freaking thing that could ever happen. And why is God punishing me? You know, what did I do that was so bad? I was just trying to be happy, you know, and I didn't understand the whole thing at all, you know. So I was basically just begrudgingly sitting there in AA and thinking, God, my whole life of this is just, you know. And then people would be happy and have celebrating birthdays, you know. So when I heard somebody had 10 years, I'd just be like, God, no. 10 years of this. Can you imagine? No. I really wanted to be dead. Sounded better, but I was too chicken to kill myself, and I didn't die all the times I should have. So I guess it just sort of happened that this fellow came up to me who had seen me go in and out and said, "Hey Nate, I'll be your sponsor if you want. We'll do the steps, you know, and call me every night at 8 p.m. and leave a message if I don't answer." And that was great, because before I would get a sponsor so I could say I had a sponsor, but I wouldn't do the deal. I didn't know how. I still didn't understand how it worked or anything. I just thought, like, I don't want to bug the guy, you know, and I've never heard from him again, but I have a sponsor. And so this guy, you know, the fact that he kind of arranged us doing it was what I needed. So I did, I went through the steps with them and called them every night. And by that time, I was just willing to do the deal as it's laid out. And I stopped thinking so much about if I could believe any of this stuff, or if I believed in God even, you know. And there is a story in the back of the big book where this person's stuck on their third step, and they get through it, and they say what they realized was whether or not they believed in God had nothing to do with having a spiritual experience. And I was like, whoa, that's how it was for me. Like I said, I just did the steps as he outlined it and this and that, and I didn't really care. You know, I was too depressed to even care. I was like, well, if there is a God, he'd know I don't believe in all this stuff anyways. So, I mean, what am I going to say? I believe it just to fool him? It wouldn't even work. So, I am glad to say that the promises actually happened right around step 9. And step 10 promises is that the obsession will be removed. And you know, I remember the day exactly where I was and everything when I was driving down the road in the summer. I had this old Bronco and the top was off. I was listening to stereo, and I caught myself like, holy crap, I feel like kind of happy. But I was not, and I'm not thinking about drugs or alcohol, you know? And it says in there that, you know, the obsession will be removed seemingly miraculously. And it really did feel like that was a freaking miracle to me, because before that, I just was 100% sure that I was going to be miserable and hate this shit the rest of my life. You know, I truly believed that. And the promises, every time they were read, I'd just be like, what a bunch of bullshit, you know, like, give me a break. And like, so right there, that was enough, you know, of all this stuff for me, that I was pretty happy with it all. And like, for a few years, I was really okay with it. You know, I probably was doing that 2-stepping thing. And at 4 years, I did 90 meetings in 90 days. And I think I did the steps again. And I leaned into the program a lot more. And the higher power stuff all kind of worked itself out and happened more. And yeah, Miss?
Yes, dear.
Did that hit 15 minutes? And that's all I got to share. Thank you.
Thanks.